Space Marine 2 is a fantastic game, but for all my fellow completionists out there, I like to measure games by a different metric. How good are they to complete? In this video, I'm going to be covering how to get the last couple hardest achievements to help you decide whether it's worth going for the platinum or not. Before we get into that, I just want to mention that Space Marine 2 has online achievements, so if you're watching this video in the far future, it's worth checking whether the servers are still online and the concurrent player counts, as that may make this game harder or even impossible to complete. Now, these first few achievements can be done online, but unless you've got a dedicated group of 3 that are all on the same page about getting achievements, you may find it difficult to isolate the specific enemies you need to get the achievements for. So you may prefer to do them in the campaign on your own, where your AI squad mates are less likely to interfere. With that out of the way, the first achievement we're looking at is Unhand My Brother. This is for getting a Tyranid Ravener to release a grabbed squad member. You want to dispatch of any other Tyranids in the area if you can first, but once you have, you're basically going to kite around the Tyranid Ravener until it burrows underground. Then when it pops back up again, it will charge at one of your allies and wrap around them. At that point, you want to unleash as much hellfire as you possibly can as quickly as possible, and if you've dealt enough damage, it will release them involuntarily. Next up is an end to Heresy. This is for killing a lesser sorcerer while he's reviving a rubric marine. For this one, you want to engage with a group of Thousand Suns and kill some of the regular Thousand Sun troopers. Once they've died, at some point, the lesser sorcerer is going to try and revive them. Key thing that you're going to look for is an arc of purple light if you can't actually see the rubric marine that it's trying to resurrect. And once it does, you just again want to deal as much damage as you possibly can as quickly as possible. If you've interrupted that successfully, then the achievement will pop. Next up is No Fear. This is for breaking a Scarab Occult Terminator's melee combo attack with 2 perfect parries in a row. So at the end of mission 6, there is a giant room with a lift mechanism in the center. After you've dealt with the first wave of heretics, the lift is going to come up and there's going to be a group of 2 or 3 Scarab Occult Terminators. This is the best place to do this because your squad mates should keep the others occupied and let you have a free run at doing this without being interrupted. And essentially you just need to perfectly time those parries. So look for that light blue symbol to appear, and you just need to wait and do that a second time after it swings the first time. If you don't get it, then you can just reload the checkpoint. You will have to deal with the wave of heretics again before you get another chance, but this is the easiest window of opportunity to do it. I'd say the hardest achievement in the game is Purge Them All, which is to mark every enemy type. So as you're going into the campaign, start making a habit of marking enemies as soon as you see them, particularly for the first time. There is no tracking in-game for which enemies you have marked already and which you haven't, so it's just a matter of marking as often as possible so that you don't risk missing any enemies. To mark an enemy, by default, you want to hover over the enemy with your reticle, and if you're on PC, you press the T key, or if you're on PlayStation, you press the up on the D-pad to mark them. That will put a red highlight around the enemy, and also on the log, you will see the name of the enemy come up. Be aware that some enemies have different loadouts with weapons, so you need to mark each weapon profile. For example, the Tyranid Warrior has, I believe, 5 different weapon loadouts. You need to mark all 5 for this achievement. The enemies that are probably going to be causing you the most difficulty tracking down are the unique ones, so the Carnifex only appears in the campaign. The Hive Tyrant only appears at the end of Operation 2, Decapitation. The Helldrake only appears at the end of Operation 4 in Reliquary. And you also need to worry about Imura, which is the main boss in the campaign. Not only do you need to mark him, but you also need to mark one of his illusions. Now, the illusions only appear in brief windows during combat encounters, as far as I'm aware, so you need to find a moment in between dodging or what have you, when he's doing one of his sort of leaping around, teleporting attacks, that's when his illusion is appearing, and you can mark that. You will know that you've got the illusion marked when it appears in the log as 3 question marks rather than Imura, and hopefully with all that you should have the achievement pop. The last achievement you'll probably have to do is Still a True Son of the Emperor. This is to kill 41,000 enemies across all game modes combined. Now, if you're anything like me, by the time you've finished wrapping up all the other achievements, you'll have only just got the 20,000 kill achievement. So it's just a really big grind to get this done. It's up to you, obviously. You can approach it however you want. You can just keep doing operations mode if you really want to do that, and eventually you'll get there. If you want to do it in a more time efficient manner, however, there are several points in the campaign where there is essentially an infinite wave of enemies that you can just sit in and kill hordes and hordes of enemies. It will take about 6 to 8 hours based on how many kills you've already got, but this is the fastest way to do it. The area I've done it in the video is during mission 1 of the campaign. There is a section where an Imperial Guard outpost has been overrun and the gate is locked, and after a brief period where you fight off a massive horde of Tyranids, they say the door's open, come through. You can just ignore that and not go through, and the enemies will just keep coming. So find a little corner and slice and dice away at them, and eventually this will pop. It's also completely viable to just grind a few thousand kills out, and if you're feeling the grind, come back to it after one of the semi-frequent updates which drops some new content. Season 3 has just dropped with the new Biovore and another difficulty option for operations mode, so that can go a long way to stop this achievement from feeling like a chore if you would prefer that approach. So overall, I'm going to give Space Marine 2 a 4.5 out of 5 for completion.
Are you not the Lord Castellan's soldiers? Fight, damn you!